Hi, I'm Vladimir from EFTbistro.com, and I would like to demonstrate how to work on and replace the inner parent in us using EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique. I myself was trying different techniques to deal with anxiety stemming from a pretty traumatic and abusive childhood. I tried a couple of inner child techniques. I tried conventional talk therapy, and I tried EFT. As the father of EFT, Gary Craig says that if we list all the issues we have to work on, we should come up with a list of hundreds of issues. And I came up with a pretty big list, and I worked on all of them. And together, in combination, all these techniques, all these efforts and methods over the years, brought my anxiety from around level 10 to around 1 or 2. In EFT, we measure everything on a scale from 0 to 10, 10 being maximum, and 0, no emotions at all. So 1 or 2 is pretty low. But I couldn't get rid of this remaining anxiety. So I had to learn how to live with this mild, non-specific kind of background anxiety for decades, until I tried EFT working on the inner parent. According to modern psychological theory, we all have 3 entities in us: the inner child, the adult, and the inner parent. So as I mentioned, I already worked on the inner child using a couple of techniques. I worked on the adult part of us using EFT on all these different issues, but I never worked on the inner parent. And only after I worked on the inner parent, managed to bring this anxiety down to a 0. You see, there might be a conflict in us, an inner conflict in us between the inner parent and the inner child. What happens is our inner parent is a perfect reflection, it's a mirror image of our actual parent. If in our childhood we were abused or mistreated by one of our parents, that external actual parent is now being internalized. In a way, we're internalizing the conflict, which was at one point outside. Now we're internalizing it. And the inner parent is treating the inner child in exactly the same way as our actual parent treated us when we were little. And that creates a conflict. The only way to resolve this conflict is to replace the inner parent in us. I don't think we can do away with the inner parent. I think it's there to stay. But we can replace it with a brand new one, which will have all the attributes we would love to see in our ideal inner parent. The way we do the replacement is then when we start tapping and we say the setup phrase and tap on the karate chop, we list all the negative attributes of our actual parent. And then when we start going through the points, we list all the positive attributes we would love to see in our ideal parent. And that's how the replacement works. So let's try to do this. Let's start with the karate chop. Even though I've been carrying around this inner parent in me for decades now, which was a reflection of my violent, abusive, and angry father. And yet I totally and completely accept, honor, and love myself anyway. Even though I've been carrying around this inner parent in me for decades and decades now, which was a mirror image of my abusive, violent, and critical father. And yet I deeply and profoundly love, accept, and honor myself anyway. And the last time, even though I've been carrying around this inner parent in me for decades and decades now, which was a reflection of my abusive, violent, and angry father, and yet I deeply and completely accept, honor, and love myself anyway. And now going through the points, starting with the top of the head. Yes, I've been carrying around this inner parent in me for decades. But now it's time to replace it. Now it's time to replace that old, unneeded, harmful inner parent with a brand new one. And now I'm making a conscious choice to replace that old, harmful inner parent with a brand new one who loves me unconditionally. He is gentle and kind, supportive and encouraging, protective and understanding. He is always there to come to my rescue. He is always there for me. He is generous and encouraging. He loves me unconditionally, and I love him back. He is gentle and kind, encouraging and understanding, compassionate and protective. He is always there to come to my rescue. He is always there to help. He loves me unconditionally, and I love him back. Now take a deep breath and let it all out of every single cell of your body, that old, harmful, unneeded inner parent, out of every single cell of your body, like that. You can do it more forcefully when nobody's watching. I did this for approximately 2 months. This technique every morning, once a day, doesn't take more than 3 minutes. If you have a chance to do it twice a day or 3 times a day, hopefully your results will be even faster. But at the end of this 2-month period, I finally brought down this anxiety, which was always with me, finally to a zero. So it helped me, and I hope it will help you. Thank you. This is Vladimir from EFTbistro.com.